Recording is on.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the DXdao weekly call for April 15th, 2021, starting at 1500 UTC time. This week is a recap. I called it a live broadcast of what's been happening in DXdao world, and it's a great way for community members to tune in and learn about everything DXdao has been working on the last 1 or 2 weeks. So usually we kick things off with Omen. Drama, you'd like to give a recap for Omen?
Yeah, so as you guys know, we are working on the liquidity mining feature and getting the guild up and running. The focus is right now to actually get the liquidity mining feature kind of done in terms of the backend, which means the subgraph, and we're making really great progress there. The subgraph work is almost done, and now we're kind of trying to integrate that into the front end. So that's pretty good news. Yeah, once that is done, we actually need to integrate the whole liquidity mining experience into the Omen front end. So that is also something we need to consider, like where do we show the rewards from providing liquidity and stuff. So that's something we need to work on after we actually are ready to use the subgraph deliveries. And in the meantime, I'm actually working on finalizing the designs for the guild dashboard, for the whole process of locking Omen tokens into the guild contracts, claiming earnings from the guilds, and right, that's basically it. Tammy, do we have any updates on Omen token?
No, I think that's it. Everyone should go take a look at Geronimo's designs in the design channel. I think they look really cool, but any feedback is definitely appreciated. Just working on a post for DAO Talk, and it's definitely going to need some help from everyone. So I'll be putting it in the channel soon, and would love feedback on that, and we'll put that up for the community to give their opinions on it. Sorry. The one thing is, I guess marketing, basic stuff, the marketing stuff's kind of moving along. Landing page, Sky's been a great help with that. And yeah, hopefully things are going to plan.
Any questions?
I think we might have just a sample of what a landing page could look like. Hopefully today or tomorrow that we could share around and see if we want to move forward or if we need to go in a different direction.
What does sample mean? Is it made by who?
What was that? Oh, the sample? Oh, yeah. So Raid Guild is a kind of an independent collective that produces work in the space, and they have a bunch of different designers. And so there's a designer who, we had his portfolio page, but we didn't, some of these designers have a lot of these designers, they're websites their portfolios don't look anything like crypto blockchain world. And so what I asked for is a sample of what an idea that they think Omen landing page could look like, but not like the actual page. And so that's what I meant by sample, almost like a mood board of what the landing page would look like, I guess. Kind of what we've been seeing for the DXdao brand, but like a lighter version of it, I think. Just so that we could share it around and say, yeah, this is kind of what we're thinking. Let's move ahead, and then we would have a contract to have them build out the more detailed version.
So the same guys who makes the sample makes the whole design too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's it's almost a free option for us to look at, to see if it's a good idea to move forward.
did we check the option with Entrecasa?
Yeah,
Not
we did.
maybe.
Their timing is off, I think. That's pretty much, they're going to do the landing page for DXdao first once they're settled on our branding direction. And then we thought it would be best to at least try to find another designer before then, even though Entrecasa's, definitely great work.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, so there's different ways to do this. Like, if we really need a landing page get to be done and ready for launch, we need something, right? But like, ideally, the designer who has the view of DXdao and all of its products, like, if, in the long run, could design like the related products as well. So maybe there's a temporary solution, or we don't have one at first, but right now we have nothing. So we have the docs page, which I think the docs page could be a good place. But
right, I think so. We're also doing that. I think maybe you've seen them. There's this company we're going to work with to do like a video, like an information video for Omen. They gave us some suggestions as well for website developers, and we haven't reached out to them yet. We're going to just see how this goes with Sky first. Sky's contact, because I think it seems like it could work out. But yeah, we'd appreciate your feedback as a designer on all of this if you have time.
Yeah, all right.
And Sky, when you say the documentation book, you're talking about Omen documentation, docs.
in our doc site.
Or you just said that we still need a landing page, but the documentation is fine. You were talking about Omen docs.
I was talking about Omen. Yeah, I was talking about like the what Keenan showed us yesterday. There's a whole Omen section.
In that, right.
So like other projects that I've seen, you could literally send someone there to learn about all the details of what we're talking about with Omen Guild and Omen Token. You don't. That's probably going to be linked to from the landing page, actually. But I agree that having a single landing page would be helpful and useful. Sure. Yeah. Cool. Thanks. That's good for Omen. Next is Mesa. Martin, would you like to give an update?
Yes. Just a second. Yeah. Hi, everyone. So on Mesa, we are integrating stuff still, and maybe I can give you a short overview how this should work. So in the base layer, we have like the smart contract who Nico worked on, and today we have like a call with Phil, who will be our auditor, but now it's just about give us some feedback about the structure we have chosen for the contracts, and then maybe change little stuff and then get ready for the audit later. And this is in a way, the smart contract now is like in a stage which is like not production ready, but it's usable for testing purpose. And then we have a layer above, and this is called the subgraph, and Adam is working on this, and he's somehow in a testing phase, but almost finished. And the subgraph the task of the subgraph is like a middle layer, because in the front end you can consume the information from the smart contract very easy. And because our smart contract structure is quite complex, there are different smart contracts which then are talking to each other, and this also means the subgraph it's somehow complicated. Many projects have live just out of one smart contract, and then you have like a subgraph who is then messaging like the data to the front end and on the other way. So it's like a middle layer who connects then you connect the front end to the subgraph to consume data and to react to events on the smart contract layer. And Adam is working on this, and he also make like a test environment, and I think he will. He's not here on the call today. I think he will present what he did in the next dev call, I guess, because I think it's also would be useful for the projects. So this is Adam, and then Nico on the, as said, smart contract, Adam subgraph, and then on the top we are working on the front end, and Hamza did like to finish in the front end. Hamza used like a simulation of the subgraph, and this is running also fine, because at the end we have to switch to the real subgraph, and we are at the point where we can the next few days. I think we can switch to the real subgraph. Hamza is working on this part, and like for the front end to consume the data from the smart contract. And then Lee is working on the other side, because if people are on the website and interact with MetaMask with the smart contracts, then you have to provide data the other way around. So this is like the user providing data and interacting with the chain. And this is what Lee is working on. And myself, I work at the moment, I work too with the team, and because we didn't figure out how to best, now we have like the data and also like a simulation with the subgraph simulation. I'm playing around to, I work on the chart to visualize, to make a visualization what's happening in the background during a sale. And yeah, that's the stage we are now. And yes, I think, are there any questions? So we are just gluing stuff together, and it's looking fine right now, but of course we will see. Yeah. Yes.
Sounds great. We should just try and keep it as simple as possible in terms of graphics, so that people don't get any wrong impression and
yes.
Think of something that it isn't the case. So just raw data and nothing that could go wrong, like any glitch in the front end in terms of any graphics that may not reflect what's happening in the back end one-to-one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think we maybe
I
I make
in
a
many ways.
version of different charts, and then we see how, if we understand this, as if you're testing the front end, if we understand the graphic, and then we can change it again. Or yeah, I think it's important to have a good visualization of the data, because this makes people understand what's going on, because it's not so easy to understand what's going on in the background. And what's really interesting also, at Gnosis auction, we use like a similar, or we use like the same code partly for one sale, for fair sale mechanism. And they had like a sale last week, or a big sale on mainnet, I think 1 week ago. And many people made bids but didn't get token. So the sale was like 20 millions around, and people have make bids for 50 million. So more than half of the people hasn't been in the sale afterwards. And what you see is there, in a way, it's not made for mainnet, because one thing is what you should do with the fair sale mechanism. A way you should react to the changing price and then reset your bid. But on mainnet, withdraw and setting bid was around 60 or 80 bucks. So small stock, people who are small investors, they can't do it. So I think I'll be looking now forward for use it on DXdao, and see. I think will be another dynamic and maybe also a better price finding mechanism in the end. Because right now, if you want to be safe, you have to make a big on fair sale. If you want to only make one bid and be in the sale, then you have to put a relatively high price. And because you don't want to reset, and if you just set the price without knowing what's going on and understanding how the dynamic of the sale, then chances that you're in the sale, it's not so high, I guess. Yeah.
That was the Boson protocol sale. Is that right?
Boson.
Like BO.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really interesting. Do you actually, just the way you describe it, is there any like explainer like that out there that you could share? Because I just saw the Gnosis auction thing, but that's like a pretty good way of kind of showing, I think, where some of the shortfalls. I don't know if maybe you should write the
explain
explainer.
how it works. So,
well, just like run through of that sale. I guess,
Yeah.
because I think that was.
Yeah,
Chris,
it's
I think
in
there's,
the
you know,
Mesa
there's like
channel.
there's a Gnosis description of their protocol, but it's really hard to understand. And they made like only registered user have been allowed to be in the sale. Also, it's like it was a closed sale even, so it hasn't been public. But the response is somehow mixed, and this is not about only the technical aspect. The thing is that the price, I think it dropped a little bit, but in a way, it was somehow stable shortly after the sale, but there's like no upside, the token now dropped a little bit, but in a way, but you see that people really, some hate that it's expensive, and others say, yeah, I can gamble, I invest, and then the price is like, it's like a fair price, but I don't have like an upside, and that's how it is.
They are gambling just via the transaction, right? Like they don't know shit about what the result will be, and people are used to like using Uniswap, with like a very high chance to like just get the job done, even with like a bad price. And right, and like the whole canceling of bids is not possible on mainnet, and like I think it's kind of
I even think they have a feature. Gnosis auction has like a feature where you can, they had like the idea that sometimes you can withdraw it and reset it, but you also have like you can have like set a time. After this point, you can't withdraw your bits. So then it's like fixed. And I think, I don't know if it's really communicated in the front end, but now they're doing Jan does a buyback right now. They buy back some Wi-Fi token, and I have to relook right now. And this one, I think it's even so you only can like set one bid, and then you have to wait till the auction close. You can't withdraw your bid, so it's just fixed. It shows mainnet is not made for this. In a way, Geronimo, you told me, and this is true, the main capital is in mainnet, and for big auctions should be in a way on mainnet because there is the capital. But in a way, this one is not made for mainnet because even then, I think it's made to rethink about your price and then make another bid.
But Martin's had some cool ideas, like participants in a Mesa mainnet auction, we could reimburse with a, say, Mesa token, like reimburse your gas fees.
Somehow,
whether you win or
and I also think this maybe is the difference to Gnosis auction because they can't make another token, but we can.
Wait, I don't think a reimbursement is needed. We just need to install the system on a scalable network.
Yes, of course.
Make the bridge like absolutely seamless.
Yes.
Like similar to Omen. If people know, okay, the ICO will happen tomorrow, I will just deposit my stuff today, and I know I will not lose by being active on the ICO, right? They can put they just sign the transactions. We relay the stuff on DXdao, and like once they are on it, the experience should be like actually really good. Right?
Yes,
and they don't
on DXdao, this is a no-brainer. Then it's
Geronimo. That sounds a lot like IDOs on the original Mesa, where you had to like deposit into Mesa, and people hated that. So once there's a chain like Arbitrum that everyone's using, and we do it on there, and everyone's got their money there already, that's a big advantage.
I don't think the deposit was such a big issue. Like if they actually know they will not pay anything afterwards and actually have a way better chance to like succeed in the game, I think everyone will be fine with it. The experience needs to be great once they are on it.
Yeah, but it's better when you already have your money there. Like deposit for a specific thing is a pain.
So people
Yeah,
will
but
deposit.
this will change, you know. So I said just one thing. This will change if people have like funds on other fast chains, not mainnet, and it's easy to move from one to another. Then maybe it's not that issue, because then it's cheap. You know, if it's expensive, then it's of course. Then if you have take your mainnet token and for one-time event you have to transact them to a side chain, then it's you don't like it. But if there's like many side chains and you can move your funds from one side chain to another one, it's relatively cheap, then maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Zed,
yes.
Zed,
did you have a last comment? We should probably move to the next product.
Yeah, what I'm saying is people don't care how many times they will move or deposit or withdraw, as long as they can make money on it. We already seen this on a lot of places. So just to get an idea, the last sale on CoinList had 450,000 people registered, KYC'd, to do the sale.
Wow.
And everyone needs to deposit.
The US is screwing US people.
Yeah. I think the benefit of the fair sale mechanism in a way is that you can run it for 2 weeks and people will have time to be part of the sale. It's not that this is nice about this, because you don't have to do it like in 1 day or 2 days. You know, you can just let it run, maybe not 2 weeks, but 10 days, and then you will see a price forming, and people have time to react what's going on and to rethink if it's the price is worth it they pay for a project. And even if they don't think and don't like it how the price moving, then they just go out again.
Last comment, Sky, for those following at home. Sales, token launches, auctions are like a huge thing with blockchains, crypto, and like Martin has been following this stuff a lot and has comments on all of the different designs. So follow him on Twitter. I can't remember what it is, but he will be commenting on all the different IDO platforms, balancer launch platforms, and it's going to be something. But I think Mesa will figure it out.
Yeah,
cool.
So
great.
That's it.
Yeah, let's move to Swapper. We had a cool demo this week. If Zet, do you want to give an update?
Sure. We are testing, fixing on farming, full steam ahead. There's a lot of feedback we got from DXdao workers and community. We're going through the issues, and we're going through the DApp to just get the DApp launch ready. So we'll not redesign or anything right now, but we just fix in case of like there's some confusion or errors. We're fixing them. Yeah, so I demoed farming this week for developers, and we went through how to create your own farm through UI and how to stake and farm. And it's working, and it should be out soon.
Great, thanks, Zet. I have governance as a product as
just quickly on Swapper. There's also a DXstats release that is proposal in there, and that is XDAI and mainnet. I think so that should go up in the next couple days.
So is that will that be the first stats type page like that, like Uniswaps and like HoneySwaps, that's actually multi-chain?
Yes, I've not seen anything else. Also, people out there, other communities are interested in Swapper because we have that.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah, and people can finally like observe actually the liquidity provision from the DXdao, and I think I would guess it's like around $100 profit per day made by the DXdao. So just observing that is already cool.
Yeah, I think we'll have a little bit of a Twitter marketing push when it goes live, right? Maybe. Keenan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And of course, sorry, there's 2 networks now, but 3 is even like cooler. So looking forward to that. This is just, yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, information in a multi-chain worlds are already hard. Getting the information you need in a multi-chain world is probably even harder. And if we can start leading the way with DXstats in that, that's pretty sweet. I have governance as a product. I don't think Augusto's here, but just a quick update is DXvote, and we did a sit down with a bunch of people and went through different features and categorized them into like V1 and V1.1. So like what is absolutely necessary to get DXvote up and running on mainnet on all different chains, and then like what are the nice to haves, which will come soon thereafter. And so there's a number of situations where DXdao needs a governance platform on certain chains in order to do governance of the products that it deploys onto that chain. So DXvote hopefully can solve a lot of those issues. So we're moving ahead with that, and it's becoming more of a community build rather than just Augusto doing it, which is cool to see. And I think we could attract maybe other people from the ecosystem. We could pull them in that are super interested in building and helping to build a governance system that's going to be more and more valuable compared to the ones that exist. So maybe that could be a tool that Augusto's mentioned this before. People that want to solve that problem, maybe they'll be attracted to come in to work on that product. So next is other squad updates. And so governance call. Chris, would you like to give an update?
Sure. Sorry, I was. Yeah, so we had governance call yesterday. A little bit fewer proposals right now as we enter the middle of the month lull with less worker proposals. So I think we have 3 on mainnet and 5 on XDAI. Rep Boost did for April, getting the nominations. There are a couple on there. I had Thurf Noob or the RF Noob, and I think he's IMKHM on DAO Stack, and also Nathan Arhat, who I think has been kind of contributing in a bunch of different ways. We're also need to follow up on getting some small rep boosts to some top Discord contributors, and Keenan and I are working on that. Treasury authorization proposal V2. The first discussion was actually on completing V1. Of the $3 million set out in the V1, there's been 2.85 million that's been acquired, and there's actually still 200 ETH in the multi-sig to be converted. But the discussion was on what to do since the trades would push over 3 million. The conclusion was to figure out how to roll this into the V2 proposal authorization, and those trades can contribute to fulfilling it. So look at the V2 proposal draft. That there's both a thread and then there's a Google Doc going around for Sky. I think we're trying to get that out in the next day or so. There was follow-up to Gemino's, I think it was expensive lesson in cybersecurity. It's a thread that it's entertaining to read, maybe a little painful to read, but like maybe a good reminder of the security, the importance of security. But the conclusion and consensus was to compensate Gemino for the lost funds and then to burn the rep of the attacker. I don't know how we think about burning the rep of the attacker, but that's kind of a cool idea. And then, the last thing was contributor experience team is helping people get up to date on proposals, reach out if you want or have any questions. They're also working on an internal referral program, which I think will be around for comments in the next couple days.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. On the burning the rep of the now compromised wallet, John, you are most familiar with. I think this has been done once before on mainnet, where there was a slash of, I think it was a voluntary slash of some reputation, and so I don't know what that schema is, or if the multi-call can't do it, I don't think. But however, if we could apply that to the XDAI and identify that wallet and initiate the proposal for that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, it can be done to the funding and voting power scheme. So the same way as all the funding and new rep mints happen. And the one time that I am aware of that it was done was when Loopring voluntarily reduced their reputation stake because they ended up with a very large percentage after the initial staking period. And it wasn't, everybody was just staking different amounts of crypto, and Loopring kind of had gone in big, not really knowing how big they would be relative to the rest of the stakers, and they ended up voluntarily slashing part of their rep.
Is it just a negative? You put a negative number in the reputation in the funding and voting proposals?
I think so, but I'd have to double check. Yeah.
Yeah, we can find that old one.
Yeah, I just pasted the two previous proposals. They're the same. They're both for Loopring. They're just like off by like a month or two, and it looks like it's just negative. I mean, I don't know what the input was, but it looks like it's just negative to those addresses. I don't know what would happen if you did like negative rep award to address that doesn't have rep, but could we put an address in like negative rep territory? But
that might error out, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't also know if anyone should have negative reputation. That's
cool. Do we what would be the process of like formally saying, do we need a DAO Talk post? Is the DAO Talk post that Gemino already did to like propose burning the rep, is that sufficient, or do we need to like formally like propose this? A slashing of rep's a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the slashing rep is a big deal, and I think we should think about the structure for like how we do that in general. If it's a contentious issue, I guess in this one, I would think that the proposal would be able to reference both the Gemino post and also even the governance discussion yesterday, which I thought we kind of found some consensus on there, and that would be enough to like present to the community who's ultimately making the decision on whether or not to slash that rep. Yeah. And I guess this is also specific to DXdao rep, because like he's not earning the mainnet rep, and we're not going to like issue, or he or she is not earning the mainnet rep, and we're not going to issue it to that address. So it's really just like kind of like what would DXdao rep holders see as sufficient signal to like go through with this action. And I think Gemino's post and the governance discussion yesterday would probably be enough.
Yeah, and I would say normally Gemino could make this proposal, but he might want some help, so one of us might want to help him, or one of us might do it. But we should figure out. We should get that going.
Yeah, I think it's actually fairly important, as this like person behind this is like a known thief, right? So it's really important that they don't have voting power in DXdao.
I actually think it's both like voting power, of course, what you're saying, but even like reputation. This idea that we have of like reputation meaning something on chain, like that address did not earn it. Like they did not earn that reputation. Like they should not have that reputation, because like we think reputation conveys and signals like it's a representation of like contributions to DXdao. So yeah, we should definitely do this.
And he has an eerie, scary wallet avatar, which is a creepy smiley face, which is a pretty amazing address. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Anyway, I'll share it. Cool. Next would be BizDev, and Elon's still on vacation. I was leading the BizDev call this week. And the two main topics, actually, which tie in with something we had as separate categories last time, were actually treasury management, which Chris just touched on heavily. So yeah, we have that very close to final doc. Like to get that in probably tonight when gas is cheap, to move ahead with a V2 treasury diversification proposal. There were some good comments, discussion around it, where even in the last couple of days, but I think I'm thinking of this V2 diversification as another proposal like the first one, which is more of an acquisition proposal. If a community thinks it would be good to get another around $5 million of stable assets, another plan to put those to work, and then also an opportunity to explore like ETH yield earning opportunities with some of the ETH up to 1,000 ETH that's in the treasury. There is a separate question of like, once let's say we acquire those, what does DXdao do going forward on an ongoing basis, managing its treasury? And Dave obviously has been helping with this a lot, but we should probably, like, the next stage would be when DXDAO's treasury gets to a state that community thinks it's pretty comfortable with, has some good runway, is earning yield on those safer dollar stable assets. Then implementing a plan and methods to maintain like a targeted structure of the treasury. And there's different ways to do that. And so I think we can focus on this one as still an acquisition of the additional assets, and then we'll need another proposal after we finish that to basically come up with a plan for how to manage it on an ongoing basis, because obviously all of our monthly costs are going to start to drain the dollars that we're holding as payments to workers, and there'll be marketing and there'll be other costs and audits and things. And so very quickly that dollar holdings will start to deteriorate, and it will have to be re-upped. And then there's little micromanagement of making sure we have enough dollar stables on XDAO for payroll every month or every couple months and stuff too. So I think that doesn't have to be in this proposal, but that's something that people should start thinking about. And then there's lots of cool ideas like LUSD and other interesting investment opportunities, or yield earning opportunities that DXdao could do. And I think a lot of those ideas, at any time, anyone in the world, actually not just in the community, can propose a new great idea to DXdao, and we could look at that as one-off deal memos with one-off proposals to take action on anything to do with that. So that's the treasury discussion we were having. And then one last thing was we also talked a bunch about DX Ventures, and DX Ventures in general. It's a new initiative where the community is still learning how to efficiently take in ideas and take action on those and gather community feedback and analyze a deal. And should we use third parties to help analyze deals? And then we haven't taken an action yet, but we're quite close on probably the Opolis opportunity. And so we should work this week, and then hopefully definitely by next week to push that one over the line if there's enough support for it. So we need a kind of a proposal that has to pass, and then there would be an actual investment proposal. And so those are the two main updates there. There were some questions in the chat of the treasury, if the DAO itself can directly interact with certain protocols like Compound, Aave, and Yearn. And
the answer is yes. And through the multi-call scheme, this can be done. I mean, in some cases, a relayer would be needed, because right now the multi-call schemes lack the ability to call the approve function like on ERC20s. And so there may be some additional work needed, but in general, the multi-call schemes like enable connections to any other piece of Ethereum. And an update on that too, the multi-call scheme has been getting prepared. There's been a bit of a blocker on working with DAOstack on verifying the multi-call factory, but they are working on that, and I think we are just about free of that blocker. And so yeah, so the next multi-call installation, there's actually 3 of them. The idea is to have like a slower moving one that would do kind of bigger fund stuff that matches the funding proposal scheme. There would be a faster one that does things like update products in a few days that kind of matches some of the schemes that do that type of thing, like maintain token lists and update ENS domains. And then the last one would be a completely open one that's actually as slow as the scheme that installs new plugins. So it sort of matches the current security model, but it adds some flexibility.
Great. Looking forward to all of those being live, so we can do a lot more.
Yeah, totally. And I think like the way I see it is like the primary goal for the treasury management now is securing runway for operations to prepare for like market volatility if we go into another bear market. But DXdao Treasury is large enough that once that runway is secured, I think the focus can actually shift more to yield and delivering more value to DXD, leveraging the treasury. Of course, like because it's all done through the DAO and consensus, and have dependencies on the DAO stack framework, it's not trivial to interact with things and stand up new strategies. And that's not really the primary goal of DXdao. The primary goal is to develop the products. But that opportunity exists, and I think it will become more of a priority as we gain more developer resources and like these kind of initial goals are met with the treasury diversification.
Yeah, and just to like think about how that could play out, right? So if we get, I guess this would be like $8 million in stables, right? And then we're earning yield on that. I guess it's only like 5 million. But like that $8 million that's earning yield is, let's say not 10%, I know is a little aggressive in the real world, but like literally, I think Yearn's offering 15% now, like Compound is, right? And so that like having $7 or $8 million in runway that's earning yield, like, I mean, we could calculate what that would do, but like that's about, I think, like 5 years before that would run out because you're getting replenished through the yield that way. So I really think like what we're doing now is like setting up the part of the treasury that will just like fund development, not for forever, but it's almost sustainable enough to do that. And then we have like the rest of it where we need to be thinking about other things. So yeah, I agree with kind of the way Sky was saying about like getting to a point and then we're kind of figuring out how we're balancing that. I think that makes sense here. And it's kind of like the whole like de-risking process. I feel like we're de-risking to a point here.
Cool, thanks. And so the last update comes from marketing communications, that's the most exciting update. So Keenan, would you like to give us an update?
Yeah, for sure. This is an update since the last recap call. We put live the bonding curve pause announcement. And to note, we did some fun little teasers where we didn't really say exactly what it was at first. Those got some pretty good impressions. So we could consider something more along those lines in the future. Just yesterday, the Q1 Treasury Report Tweetstorm went live. Also this month, March month in review went live, and Swapper Beta AMA retrospective, which both did very well. I think it was already mentioned, but Omen landing page and video are coming along. I believe Sky is working on it predominantly right now. We're also exploring additional community incentives, stuff like the Omen Market Program, what we could do with the community on that, with a goal to involve the larger prediction market community. We're also preparing for the DXdao anniversary, which we've kind of decided somewhat that it would be July 14th, the launch of governance. But that's up for discussion. We still have time before the bonding curve launch and everything as well, if we decide to go that route instead. We're exploring the potential of like a POAP NFT kind of thing, and or a kind of 2-year retrospective story type deal since the genesis of DXdao. We're preparing for the potential buyback, how, where, when to communicate. We've coordinated, this might be a little bit more biz devy, but we coordinated with CoinGecko on the implementation of Swapper. We're just waiting on a response from them right now. And we've also done the same with several smaller teams that we want to get onto Swapper as we're nearing the launch of beta. Me and John spoke again with Bitcoin, who sent a proposal to us. I've taken a decent look now, and I think it would be best if we were to discuss on the communications call next week. So that's the next step for them. For Anchakasa, They had another update for the landing page branding. I think the consensus softly is that we're kind of on the right path, not quite there yet, and we'll be exploring some more options in bulk next time they get back to us. And last but not least, the documentation book had a review with a couple of contributors, which I would consider the second last review before we go live. After everything's addressed in that build, we will get an IPFS up and get it in everyone's hands just for review. Let us know how it is, how it works, what is missing, what it needs. And after that review, we'll be prepared to go live with it. And I think that's all from us this week.
Thanks, Keenan. Any questions? Just to, we mentioned, now there's 3 of us have mentioned it, but we didn't specifically address it, is so 1 week ago at the resources call, Dave, who's been looking after like accounting and tracking of all of the numbers and finances of DXdao, released the report that he had been working on, which is an awesome report, which was therefore then tweet stormed out. It's super cool. I think it's something that we've seen a couple DAOs do, and this is a great way for like DXdao to share all that information with the entire ecosystem, and people see that, and that's like another way to pull people in to the ecosystem when they, some people see a big treasury and they're like, oh, I can contribute to that, and they know that there's funds that can be paid for those contributions. So I think getting that out there has been great, and looking forward to seeing that on a regular basis, and having Dave more involved in like the actual strategy and management of the treasury as well.
Absolutely.
Cool. I think that's probably everything. Is there anything else people have top of mind? Otherwise, we can end it here. Thanks for tuning in to the DXdao weekly meeting.
We need to get this on Twitch.
Yeah, but now you say you can just download the audio from YouTube, which is great. I didn't know you could do that. So people can listen to it like a podcast.
Yeah, when DXdao podcast.